Alright, so here we go. It's about 3:30 in the morning on the end of the world, December 21, 2020. And this will be the removal procedure for a transmission on a 2005 Buick Terraza. My first thing I want to do is get the air box. I don't know if you can see. Let me get a light over here. These clamp on lights. Okay. First thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to remove the. Probably won't have to remove all this, but I'm going to remove the airbox housing and the tube. This car, you know what I don't like about this car, it has a fully electronic throttle. When you push your gas pedal down, the computer reads the gas pedal and then sends it out. There's no cable. Call me old-fashioned, but I like a cable throttle. I don't care for this, but that should be able to stay in place. I'm going to remove this and this. I just want to get to my transmission bolts under this stuff here. So that's the first order of business. Now I plan on filming this whole procedure, and I realize these videos are going to get very long and probably be very boring for people who are not into this thing. But, you know, in case anybody out there needs help with one of these cars, I just want to do. I want to film the whole job. And you could, skip around in the video if you want to see what happens later in the video. My plan for tonight, I want to remove this stuff. I want to get the car up on jack stands. I want to get the back wheels raised so that it's pretty much level with the front. And I'd like to start the transmission draining because I'd like that to drain for a full day to slowly drip. That way we get the maximum amount of weight out of the transmission. Not that a quart or two is going to matter, but less mess. We want to make sure get as much fluid as possible. Let's see. This is the mass airflow sensor, I'm guessing. Okay. That's going to have to come off. Now, because they only made this car for 3 years, they do not make a Haynes manual. So I'm going to have to rely on the book that I used to take my Lumina transmission out. Now, it had a similar engine than GM. I think it had the exact same transmission. So the procedure should not be that different. You can see this book's all greasy. I used this book. I tore the head down, replaced my head gaskets. I mean, this thing has been to the moon and back. So the transmission procedure, at least the start of it, raise the vehicle, support it securely on jack stands, drain the fluid. That's what I'm doing tonight. And because I know I'm going to have to get to these lower bolts down here, I just want to take this stuff apart first, because once you raise the car, it's not going to be easy to get under the hood and work. So I like to get this done first. 5/16 nut driver on all these clamps. Pull it off of there. Okay. Air intake. Got a little system over here where I'm going to lay all this stuff out, so it's convenient and not in my way. Okay. Airbox cover with mass airflow sensor. Still, I guess it's all one piece. Not weird. Okay. Air filter. Oh my god, well, we're going to be putting a new air filter in anyway. That's a given. Might as well do some maintenance along the way. Oh man, there's leaves in here. That's not good. Okay, see now, here's the tranny. Let me get another light. I just realized, I don't know if it's smart if I have music playing, because YouTube's a bitch that way. There's the tranny. So these upper bolts will be nice and easy to get to. I shouldn't have to deal with any exhaust stuff. Right here is, let's see, this is where the tranny bolts to the engine. Torque converter in there, I believe, if I remember this correctly. So these upper bolts, no problem. I don't think the exhaust will be in my way. I don't think I'm going to have to remove any more of this, because I could pretty much get my hand in there pretty good. So, but we may have to remove more later. This is going to be a job, since it's a little bit different setup than the Lumina, basically the same engine and transmission, but this being a high profile vehicle, there's going to be, you know, more steel under here. There's probably stabilizer bars and whatnot. So there'll be a few extra steps, but I'm sure I can handle it as I go along. So I'm done up here. What I want to do now is raise and support securely on jack stands. This is how I like to stabilize my back wheels. The center of this go under the center of the bottom of the wheel. Now, I couldn't find any safety information on the internet about whether this was even safe to do, but I've always done it this way. This is like the ghetto jack stand, because I want the car level. I don't want it at an angle on the jack stands. I want it level. So this provides two things. Not only does it give me lift in the rear, but it cocks the wheels. This wheel's not going to move when it's centered on here, because the weight will be distributed. Center of the tire will be in the middle. It's not going to be able to rock. Maxed out on the jack. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Fuck. That's how it goes, isn't it? I'm going to set this wheel down directly in the center of this donut. And what happens is, how long you got a little bit of lift on your rear, this tire is not going anywhere, because it's sitting down in that groove. And better than the emergency brake, in my opinion. You tell me your thoughts on that. I'm going to go do the other side. Yeah, I got the passenger side done. Like I said, I would love everyone's opinion on doing that to the back wheels. I can't find anything on the internet about it, but it's what I've always done. Yeah, I could use another pair of jack stands, but I like the car being on the wheels, and putting them in the middle of the rims give them a good degree of immobility. That with the emergency brake gives me peace of mind. Using 4 jack stands, I don't know, there's still a possibility if I'm torquing something. I mean, I like the idea that the tires are on the car, on the ground, supported by good support. So never throw your donut tires away. They're always useful for something. Now I want to jack the front up, and it's going to do it like on the first level on the jack stands, because I'm going to reach under there and start draining the fluid. I'm not going to put it all the way up until I get the tranny drained. So let's get that done. And we're using the Blackjack 3-ton. I was going to go 6-ton, but I was thinking, I don't know if I need that kind of height. I mean, we'll see how it goes. If we have to order 6 tons in the middle of it, we will. I don't know what jack stands I had when I did my Lumina. I can't remember for the life of me. It was so long ago. But I'm just going to put this up high enough to get the front end off the ground. And I'm going to crawl under there, put a drain pan, and start draining the tranny. And we'll let that drain for a day or two. I like to get the maximum amount of fluid out of it, just to make it lighter and less messy once we really start taking things apart. Right under the subframe bolt. Tires up. Let's see what we got here. I'll put my jack stand just behind the subframe bolt because the subframe's got to drop. So I want to make sure I'm not obstructing anything. Jack stand's in a good spot. Level, solid. Slowly let her down. Oh, that's beautiful, man. Get the other side. Okay, we got the whole front end up in there. Now I should mention, always crack your lug nuts before you jack the car up. Otherwise, you're gonna find yourself putting the tire back on the ground because it's gonna free spin if you're in park or in a gear. So learn from my mistakes, grasshopper. Okay. So I got my lug nuts undone here. The wheels are coming off. Here we go. Now we're getting to the fun stuff. Okay, we got both wheels off, and we're gonna crawl under there and start draining her. For draining, I'm using some full-size steam table pans. I've got a pack of 15. These, I mean, you know how it is pulling a transmission pan. You want a maximum, you want a big, you know, I fill these halfway full, and then we'll transfer them into bottles later to take them to the recycle place. So I know I just did this a little while ago, but I forgot what size those bolts are, so I'm going to see what size bolts, and then we'll start the drain. All right, it's 10 millimeter. I got a pan here. I got a couple more over here. Just go around, start cracking bolts slowly. I was very careful not to over torque these when I put them back in. I'm not in as good a shape as I used to be. I'll admit that. This shit's kind of brutal, actually. I got dripping. Come here, you. And I don't know about you, but I like to throw my tires under the car, just in case jack stand does fail. I don't want to be crushed to death. And it's probably going to ruin the tire, but at least it won't ruin me, or at the least do very minimal damage. God knows I don't want to go to a hospital right now. Okay. Boy, look at that fluid. That was brand new fluid that's coming out really dark. Holy shit. Yeah, I think you guys are right. We're definitely going to replace this bitch. I need an extension. Oh, making it rain. Like Tony Soprano said, get them draining. A little bit more cracking. Isn't that what they call it? The cracking? Whatever happened to that anyway? I thought Donald Trump was going to get the cracking. I thought we were going to drain the swamp too. I thought we were going to find out the truth about 9/11. You know, all that stuff he promised us. Now we got the cracking. Oh my God, you're prying the lip of the transmission pan. Relax. We're replacing it anyway. Look at that fluid, man. That's like... It looks like used oil. I put brand new pink fluid in here and it's coming out dark. Almost looks like chocolate. Like red chocolate. Holy shit. I want to get that lip under there as fast as possible. And then I just want to slowly drag this guy out the way, Holmes. It's not as black as it was the first time, but if I raise it, I can get a little bit of a red tint out of it. Now, well, that's doing that. What we're going to have to do here, I watched a few videos about where you don't necessarily have to take the drive axle out of the wheel bearing. Once you get all this stuff loose, you can pull it and it'll come out of the transmission and you can tie it off. However, I want to be able to spin these wheel bearings with my hands just so I can feel what they feel like. So we will be taking off the nut. We'll take the caliper, the rotor, the nut, and whatever supports the caliper support. Pull the disc off, and then this. I'm going to have to go buy a socket for this center bolt. I know I don't have that size. We'll crack that loose. And there's like 3 or 4 bolts on the back for the wheel bearing. I don't know if I'll have to actually remove the wheel bearing. I'd like to just try to remove the drive axle and leave the wheel bearing in place, but we won't know until we get everything apart here. But we'll have to take our tie rods off, and like I said, my Lumina didn't have extra. This is a stabilizer bar that's hooked onto the subframe. That will have to come loose from there, and then I could probably swing it up and just get it out of the way. The rack and pinion is mounted to the subframe, which this whole subframe has to drop in order to drop the transmission. We're also going to have to figure out a hoist for the engine. We're going to have to suspend the engine from a hoist so that it doesn't fall with the transmission. So we got a lot of work ahead of us. I'm going to go ahead and continue this drain, get it draining down to a trickle, and then I'll leave it trickle all night. Maybe come back in a day or two and we'll go further. But so far so good. Take a look at the pan. Oh yeah, look at that! Look at that metal. I just cleaned all this, and there it is again. All these metal shavings. Really fine. I cleaned the magnet too. Look, oh my God! Look at this. Look at all that gunk. This was brand new. What a couple weeks ago we changed it. I think it has hardly been driven. Just took it for a couple test drives. So yeah, we definitely have a tranny problem here. Look at all this gunk. Okay, so I'm gonna go get cleaned up. I think it's 6 or 7 in the morning. I wasn't planning on pulling the pan down tonight, but I was just in the zone, so I said, screw it, let's pull it. I think the best thing to do is just pull it, right? So we'll let it slow drain for a while, and we'll see you on the next one.